Godzilla's singular point is gonna put the kaiju genre on notice, bridging a decades-long legacy into the anime world. But it should be known that it isn't the first anime to introduce the concept of titanic beings duking it out. Number 5. Freezing. Freezing is a rather underrated anime that never got out of the indie scene and sort of stayed there and was forgotten by anime fans, even its fan base. I can tell because I was a big fan of the show, and even I forgot that this show existed. But this isn't because the show is not good. It's a very catchy show with well-written characters. The plot as thick as the character's design. And of course, the titanic monsters known as Novas. In the world of Freezing, the Novas is an extraterrestrial life form that appears unpredictably and causes a lot of mayhem. Seriously, if humans were not to fight these Novas back, then Earth would be done for in a couple of hours. What I like about this anime is that the fighters who are trained are genetically enhanced to fight these Novas called Pandoras. And they are all females. Male human beings do not have the genetic ability to be a Pandora, which is interesting because where does this put the male population at? Well, that is where the anime thrives, as all of the male population are there to support the Pandoras, as each Pandora is assigned with a limiter, a male who is capable of casting a freezing. Freezing is an area where all things, well, freeze!
今の弾くとは
Number 4. Kagewani. In terms of accuracy and precision, this anime is the closest one you will find considering Godzilla singular point as the benchmark. This doesn't mean that the anime is all too great. Is it watchable? Yes. It does have a ton of great kaiju battles. It has characters similar to the ones we see in the Godzilla universe. So yeah, in terms of raw similarity and inspiration, this anime is a nerfed down version of Godzilla singular point. What's interesting about Kagewani is that this anime is actually under the horror genre and features a much darker tone than any other kaiju animes or shows you will see out there. I mean, yeah, Godzilla is kinda scary, but you will never see him as an emissary of horror. Godzilla invokes a feeling of magnificence and a bit of fear, but not in the way horror shows do. Kagewani, on the other hand, focuses heavily on how utterly terrifying kaijus can be, considering that they are hell-bent on destroying the world. There isn't much to talk about the plot of this anime, since it's pretty straightforward and isn't as immersive as other entries on this list. The story follows the story of Sosuke Banba, a scientist dedicated to the field of researching mysterious animals, as he keeps encountering Yumas, unidentified mysterious animals. I just wish they could have gone with something cooler than Yuma. It feels like the name of a high school. Number 3. Neon Genesis Evangelion. Now I know that some of you might want to argue that this is a mech anime. There are no legit kaijus here. Actually, anything that looks rather titanic and is an organic being rather than something made up of metal classifies as a kaiju, meaning that the angels that we see in this anime are legit kaijus, and not some robots made out of metals and other different elements. But let's talk about the anime itself, and then its similarity to Godzilla singular point. First off, I have to say that Evangelion has one of the best stories in all of fiction, pushing the kaiju factor away for some time. We get to enjoy very deep psychologically driven storytelling of a teenage boy dealing with daddy issues and who enjoys to low-key molest his colleagues. The ones who watch the anime know what I'm talking about. Now moving on to the kaiju factor. The way they incorporate the battles between the mechs designed by humans against the angels, who are aliens coming out of nowhere to wreak havoc, is stellar. You get some titanic fight scenes, and these fights and the teamwork invested in them works as a great dynamic for the other side of the story, which is the psychological part that I just talked about. All in all, there isn't a single wasted episode in this anime, and every bit of scene or story arc they highlight ultimately contributes to the main purpose that this show serves, and that is the bizarre mental condition of our protagonist, Shinji. Number 2. Attack on Titan. Hold on now, I know what you're thinking. How in the world is Attack on Titan similar to Godzilla Singular Point? But we aren't focusing everything based on the plot itself. Attack on Titan is a unique anime, and there is no comparing it, which is why the only comparison that can be made with Attack on Titan is with the different elements it is composed of. This is why Godzilla can be compared to this, because both animes heavily press upon the concept of gigantic beings destroying or protecting humanity. I'm sure there isn't much need to talk about the plot of Attack on Titan, because it is probably the most well-known anime in modern times. Even non-anime fans have probably watched Attack on Titan unknowingly. But if you must know, then I don't have anything better to do anyway. The story revolves around Eren Yeager, who lives inside of gigantic walls that protect him and the residents from towering humanoid creatures known as Titans. Humans are Titan food, and there isn't any convenient way to take these Titans down, and they do not die with hunger. This doesn't mean that humanity is going to sit back and let all this happen. They form different divisions inside of the walls to fend off against the Titans and keep the balance in check inside. Almost all the divisions are pretty much useless except the scouts, who go out of the walls on expeditions to research more about these Titans and potentially find a way to defeat them. There is more than just Titan butchering and gruesome human deaths to this anime. The plot is a modern-day masterpiece. And even with so much thriller and politics involved within the storyline, they still manage to tell this as a story of huge humanoid creatures terrorizing the existence of normal human beings. And finally, number 1, Digimon. The anime that made monster battles mainstream, from titanic battles of the Digimon to the adventures of our favorite characters. Digimon is the ultimate kaiju experience that doesn't necessarily feel like a kaiju experience. The reason why Digimon is the anime that topped this list is because of the legacy, fan base, and its focus on giant creatures, which thank goodness are not humanoid. And that is also the reason why Attack on Titan did not top this list, because even though the monsters are titans, they still look human-like.
And that doesn't play out perfectly well in the Kaiju dictionary.
Oops. The anime draws a huge inspiration for Pokemon, but calling it a Pokemon ripoff would be a crime because Digimon has a pretty original plot and premise to go around with. The very first difference you will see is that Digimons, the monsters of the show, exist in a world that is not Earth. Yes, our human characters are from Earth, but they get transported to this world where they meet these magnificent and titanic creatures known as Digimon. Not all of these monsters are huge though, but most of them are. And those who aren't huge eventually end up going through an evolutionary process. And in their final stage, they are usually very big. The battle that takes place between these monsters is similar to the Pokemon battles, but when they clash as big titans, it is a beautiful spectacle, and it also became the benchmark for colossal creatures duking it out on the anime world. So, that was it for today. If you feel like we have missed any anime title that deserves a spot, then do let us know in the comments, along with your reasons on why they should have hit the mark. And if you enjoyed today's video, then don't forget to give us a like and press that subscribe button so you won't miss out on any other anime content that we have to offer. This is Anime Ikigai, and we will see you in the next video.